Welcome back, everybody, to The Creative Moment, Season 10, Episode 10, Episode 100 overall. That is over 3 years over 2 years definitely of Creative Moments. So first off, we just want to say Dante Bullhauer and Jamie Bullhauer are our hosts of this show. Thank you to everyone who's listened, subscribed, commented, given feedback, all of our guests that took the time to come on. Thank you for everybody. We're celebrating with Bubba, obviously. So let's go ahead and... maybe by episode 200 we'll get those synchronized. But for now, that's fine. So today for our 100th episode, we're just talking kind of some generic stuff, kind of a loose topic.
Yeah, because so we had plans, and I had plans. And we were going to try to have a major interview-based 100th episode. And sadly, due to lots of things, but also sometimes me trying to contact some big names, and I went through some official channels, I didn't to try to get that, and just did not get any replies back, nothing back, and it just was like, okay, what do artists, have a responsibility to other artists? Is there some, in the poetic world, so for a small example, I got 2 poems for the People's Prince Museum accepted to do their summer opening. And one of them is a golden shovel, which uses the lyric for the ending lines. But you say in the title of the poem that's after this, you give credit. So giving credit is some of the responsibility we have to other artists. We, should always do that. But, in that sense, I kind of felt I didn't get anything. Nobody actually even said no. And I went through official channels for some of these creatives, and not even just a no. And I just felt kind of like, oh, okay, I don't know. I don't know if I deserve that. I don't know.
I obviously think it is polite to respond, whether positively or negatively or whatever.
Yeah.
From my personal experience, obviously, how I even started growing in this industry was Ben kind of took me under his wing. He did not have a responsibility to do that or to help me or give me those opportunities, but that was incredibly influential in just helping me, 1, grow the passion, but 2, just grow the knowledge base in just kind of photo, video stuff. In terms of responsibility to other artists, I don't know if you have one. I think that everybody is kind of going, they're on their own path, and even just from kind of a technical perspective, there are some people that message me on Instagram or whatever, and it goes to my request, and I don't see it for months, and I just don't answer it. Well, 6 months late or whatever. But I don't feel a responsibility to help other creatives grow. I like to do it, and I enjoy doing it, but I don't feel that I need to be actively seeking out either up and coming creatives or whatever to take them under my wing. I don't know. I don't feel that there's a responsibility to the artist. I feel like it's more a responsibility of the person that wants to grow or wants to, just get more. The person that wants to interact with that artist, with another artist, I feel like it's kind of their responsibility to do the outreach and to ask questions and seek out those opportunities.
Okay, so if they do that, and again,
right, which
just being a guest here, but if they reach out, how do you actually handle saying no, to that degree, and maybe this is a little bit of the teacher side, and obviously you grew up in a house full of teachers and stuff. I enjoy helping people be, better artists, or introducing, because I'm known for writing in poetic forms and known as and so in that part, that aspect, but I think at least saying no, I just felt kind of bad. Like, I didn't get anything. And I went through professional channels with a couple of their number agencies, and some stuff like that.
Saying no is something I suck at. That is one of my biggest, I would say, weaknesses, is whether it's taking on too many projects or just doing things I don't want to do, but someone asks me, I have a hard time just saying no. So radio silence is easier. Not saying that I do that, because I try not to.
True.
But I feel like now that I'm a little more grown up, the world and the people that you think of as like super buttoned up, or the companies that you think are super buttoned up, whatever it may be, are not as organized, as kind of on top things as you would think. I've worked with a couple NIL agents now. I got radio silence after like the third video I sent them for approval. I had to get everything approved. Yeah. And then the agent just stopped responding. He runs all the social channels. Like, he is kind of the point of contact. There's no way to actually contact like the athlete, really, unless you have his personal cell number or whatever. And that just seems crazy to me, because the agent is supposed to be the professional. The kid is supposed to, doesn't bear that responsibility. So with like some big names and going through agencies, sometimes I think they might have a policy that says we have to respond to everything, but it's not enforced, things like that. And it is just easier just to brush it off the table than it is to go through and take the time to write the rejection letter or the rejection email, things like that. I think that's might be what happened. But yeah, I feel if there is outreach, you bear a little responsibility to give some response, whether it is a yes or no.
I on my end, if anybody ever tries, at least if I don't have time, and I get what you did say is honestly true, and we talked about that in like chasing our dreams, how we are all actually in our own bubble, and there are people that support us and stuff, but I'm just like, we have all our busyness, all our responsibilities and stuff. And so I can kind of agree that radio silence is a no. I just think that in the long run, that's what kind of deteriorates connection, makes it easier not to connect. Because saying no, it sometimes is hard, especially if somebody is just really reaching out, trying, and honestly, they're like, this is their drive, this is what they like to do, but it just, I think it in the long run is a negative. Even just a simple, no, I'm sorry, I'm busy. And then after that, if they, get mad, people are people to a degree, well then, radio silence. But like, I really, for some of the people I really did want, I was a little bit not hounding per se. I would make sure I didn't cry, but I did exactly what they were supposed to do. Email, all of that. Like, no email is not that hard to write back. It's not.
There's probably a template saved of just.
Oh yeah, rejection. Come on now. In our day and age, there is a. Even if it said Mrs. Bullhauer, which happens in my mail spam sometimes. It just. Yeah, I guess we don't truly have a responsibility to help or do, but I think as people we should have a responsibility to at least acknowledge as best we can.
Well, and I think it just has become a lot more acceptable now to bear as little responsibility as possible, basically, in social settings, in professional settings, like almost anywhere. It's just it's just more accepted to not be shameless, basically, and not feel like you have to do anything for anybody. It's become a lot more self-centered and selfish, where just look out for yourself, who cares about anybody else.
Yeah.
And
I don't think people mean to do that either. But a couple of the creatives, I have had interactions with them through social media and have done this wasn't just totally cold call. Like, we have interacted, not every day or anything like, and some of these were actually kind of big names, but have had that interaction. And so and then, so that leads me to the other thing. I was like, how is social media, okay, not brain rot per se, but I'm like, maybe they just don't even remember those interactions, even though they're like interviews, there were like some talk about art, but then, like, in that sense, so much, like, they don't, maybe it felt like a cold call because they don't remember.
I read an article that was talking about how basically, because we become just kind of so, like, self-centered and things like that, I'm blanking on what I was trying to say.
The article was...
I've consumed... Oh, yeah. Okay, it was because we become so just kind of self-centered that we were not made... Like, it leads to more scrolling, more just being online and being in your own, doom scrolling, that whole thing. We were not made to consume this vast amount of information and just brush it off. I see a tweet, oh, that's cool. Oh, cool stat, whatever. Scroll past. I will not remember that tweet in 10 seconds, 5 seconds maybe. Yeah. I have a Instagram reel about this. Like, when was the last time you remember 5 videos that you scroll on TikTok? But you scroll and you scroll and you take in information. It just goes, like, in one ear, out the other, basically. And that has, like, kind of bled into just interactions where social interactions, you do not invest yourself deeply, as deep as we used to, because you're not really, retaining the information at we're not listening to each other, really. And it was just kind of an interesting theory that I was reading about.
Yeah.
Because we're just now processing everything just surface level, and that's all we really care about. And that kind of leads to, there's a lot of people, and I'm victim to a lot of clients that I've worked with I'm not great at names. I kind of remember faces, but I do not know them. And they'll come talk to me. Hey, saw you here the other weekend. I'm like, I have no idea who you are, but thank you. But then, because I didn't invest in that interaction enough, that whenever they, like, last interacted with me, just went in and went out. And it was just surface level. So, I don't know. Does that play a part in it? Probably.
Yeah.
Because it probably does feel like it's their first time.
And that's and I was just saying, because the Friday, the battle poem thing, weekly, and I've been trying to amp up my game a little bit for the last just to interact. And I like when I receive, but I try, I pay attention to, like, with the tone. And I think people, like, we do I think honestly crave that deeper connection, even if it is through social media. I am saying, I see your poetry, this is what I notice, and to a degree that kind of builds the teacher nickname for me, but it gives everybody a moment, and so that poem or that colleague or friend on social media has a deeper connection. And so just on my end, I'm building it thoughtfully because I'm interacting with that. But I will agree, I see, I've been actually not on social media as much anymore, trying to do that thing of being, with that. But when I am, trying to be intentional about that and to comment or things. But yeah, so maybe they just didn't even recognize me in that sense. And I didn't want to say, hey, do you remember? Maybe I should have. Like, do you remember when we talked about this? But
that is part of the harder part to even get past the surface level interactions is the person trying, if it's a one-sided thing, the person has to work a lot harder to get past a surface level conversation. I know, like, again, I am as victim to this as anybody. When I see people at games, I had, I think, 9 people come up to me at the basketball game last night, just this, that, the other. Did you see my text? Did you do this? And it's just like, I'm just trying to, there were literally a line of 4 people waiting to talk to me at one point, and which is overwhelming at halftime of a basketball game or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to get whatever critical information I need. All right, thanks, see you later. Next person, like that sort of thing. I didn't really stop to, like, there was no deep conversation, and a lot of it was just work-based. But, like, Miss Cleaver, one of my old teachers, was just like, what were you doing at Disney World, whatever. Like, oh, it was just work on a golf course. She goes, oh, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
And do we have more time for me to ask her how she was doing, maybe, or something like that? Yeah, we did, but it was just, oh, yep, okay, that's all you wanted. Not that I shoved her off. I did not do that, Miss Cleaver. You don't vouch for me on that. But I was just so focused on, if there's not any critical information, conversation's not worth having, boom. And so it just is. That's just kind of the world that we live in now. And not saying that that's right for me to do. It's not. But I've just gotten so used to, I just gotta, like, get in, get out. Don't, like, Grandpa, like, I have such a sense of urgency now. I get so mad that when people are just moseying around the store, but they're living more than I am. I'm just like, okay, what do I need? Chips, get in, get out, wire, like, stuff like that. So maybe I just need to be a better person. Maybe that's
what's interesting is I know your word for the year.
Yeah, well, still early.
It is still early. No, and I'm all like, a total side note. Yeah, my word magic. I tried to do something really cool, and it's this whole day just fell apart in regards to. We're actually filming on Valentine's Day. Actually, it's like this is now the worst Valentine's Day I've ever, because everything fell apart. It's like awesome. So, kind of on that note, though, the last little thing. It is the 100th episode. We do not have confetti. We do not have. It's raining. It's like, and I was just actually thinking that it is kind of the idea of what we do creatively. The podcast, just even, in relationship stuff, is that, yes, there are milestones. This is a cool milestone. We probably didn't really think. But, you got to go, once the milestone's over, you go to and do again. And obviously as an athlete and as a coach, we know that you win or lose a game, guess what you got to do? You got to practice the next day. It's that the idea of embrace the process, not the destination, type of thing. And in one way, it's kind of ironic that this ends up being our 100th episode is just kind of a normal. And, when we're done here, sign out. We'll again see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah. But I also think it's almost counterintuitive to what we just talked about. Obviously, you don't want to, like, I like this quote, like, look at success, don't stare at it. Like, don't just, oh, we hit 100 episodes, we're good. My milestones, whether financially, business, like, it's really cool. But part of the thing that we just talked about is just, like, getting deeper and investing in the moment or the milestone, whatever. And I think again, me more than anybody, have just got so used to just the hamster wheel and it not stopping. It's like, just like sit and be like, enjoy the moment of whatever your milestones are. Even if it looks ordinary, and you just go treat yourself to a cup of coffee or something instead of like at a coffee shop instead of making it at home. Like, make sure that you are getting out of whatever milestone that you want, and then get right back on the hamster wheel. But like, I have just been ungodly stressed the last 2 months, and I spent a week in Florida, and I would walk every morning, and I'm like, the last day I was there, I was like, I really didn't enjoy these walks. I was like, let's just walk so we hit a mile or 2 miles so we can go get to work. I'm like, you're in Florida right now. Or when I was at Disney World, I'm like, I'm working at Disney World. Instead, I was like, just get what you need to get done and get out. That was how I was at Disney World. I hated Disney World. I hated it. And then at Universal, I just kind of slowed down and it was way better.
Yep.
So live life in the fast lane, but also get over in the slow lane every once in a while.
And we kind of talked about, but this, and we have been in the midst of trying to do this of busy times, and sometimes, especially your schedule, it's easier, but it is a reinforcement of the idea. Sometimes you have to schedule. You say, this is important. I'm going to do that. And sometimes it's the small things, because if you remember in class, we might have a ton of things to do, but I always start with a quirky question, just something to kind of say, hey, we're here, and stuff, and hitting 100 in the world of podcasts and stuff is actually pretty impressive.
It's my first podcast I've ever done. I don't even know if I have 100 collective episodes.
No, not on your other...
No, that one has 3. But I mean, the Don and Dev show is 40-something.
Yeah.
Part of that's high school, graduation, whatever. A couple Strive podcasts, not even close. I don't even think we had 10 on some of them. But
it has been a joy. It has been a joy to do this, and sometimes at night, in the morning, it just... it does allow us both a deep moment to talk about creativity and get to have our live audience every once in a while with that. So I have enjoyed it.
I have as well. This island has been here since episode 1. It's gone away for a little bit, a couple years.
And some of the other unique locations.
Yeah.
Reference the last episode.
Really? She says it's time to wrap it up. So with that, again, thank you to everybody that has watched, listened, supported, any sort of interaction that you've had with us over this digital wall. We appreciate that. And again, to all of our guests that have come on, thank you. We're still looking to keep the guest thing rolling. So if you have something that you want to say, or you have an idea and something to talk about, we'd love to have you on, or even if you just have a topic that you want to shoot us. We'd love to hear it. So thank you again to everybody. This was our 100th episode of The Creative Moment. And we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.